Hello lovebirds, Tanya TKO here. First, please excuse me. For those of you who are on my Facebook and Twitter, you know I was out jogging this morning and I decided to come to work because I'm still packing up the loft to get everything out of here, and I don't have much time to make many more videos, but the feeling came over me and the moment hit me while I was running that I needed to make a video entitled "You Can't Turn a Hoe into a Husband." So bear with me, forgive my attire. I didn't have any pretty dresses here at work. I just had these workout clothes, but I thought it was really important for me to make this video, so I said chuck it. I'm gonna come forward and do the video. Today, we're going to talk about 4 different things. We're going to talk about not being able to turn a hoe into a husband. We're also going to talk about what people mean when they say women choose. We're also going to talk about validation through others, and we're going to talk about your self-worth. So let's get right into the video right now. You can't turn a hoe into a husband. You know, the statement is usually used in reverse, where you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. I don't like the whole terminology of hoe and slut shaming and all that other stuff either, but you'll understand what I mean. A man who is just trying to use you for a booty call, or a man who is out there playing, ripping and running, etc., you can't turn this man into a husband. This is something that he has to be ready for. It's like in his life, and we talked about this in the 5 best ways to choose a husband, and then we talked some about this in lots of different videos, but a man's life has to be ready and conducive to being able to let a particular something into his life. He has to be able to step up to the mantle of manhood and be able to do what it is that he needs to do first to prepare before he will even see himself as ready to be head of someone's household, etc. He has to have his finances in order. He has to have the playing out of his system. He has to know where he's going job-wise. He has to have a clearer understanding of who it is that he is. You know, there can't be 2 captains of a ship. A lot of women don't like the term submissive because it gives off the air of someone stepping on you or you being beneath them or whatnot. And my thing is, as a woman, you know, nowadays, listen, we women are so self-sufficient and we can do so much on our own. And my thing is that I want you to be able to find a man who you feel comfortable, quote unquote, submitting to. Someone who you feel comfortable, you know, falling back and letting this person be the man of the house. They can only, you know, it's, I hope you got that point. You know, I heard a gentleman say a few years ago that there can't be 2 captains of a ship, and that's true. Both people cannot fight for the wheel at one time. And as a woman, you know what, you have to forgive me also, I'm having some back pain, so my neck is a little bit stiff right now, so if I'm looking funny, that's why. So, you know, there can't be 2 people fighting for the wheel. There can't be 2 people directing things how they want them to go particularly. And you as a woman, your greatest gifts are not in oh God. Ugh. I want to put this correctly, but let's just, I mean, I'm not editing the video, I'm just going straight forward. It would behoove you, it falls more in the natural alignment. You'll be more nourished as a woman if you find a person who can alleviate you of having to exert all of this masculine energy over the household, because it's going to be very draining for you. You get into a situation where you're never given respite. I want you to look for a man who can give you, who is look, somebody who can run, I don't want to say run, but someone who can head your household better than you can. Find somebody who can give you respite so that you can relax into your femininity. You know, masculinity is an active, the masculine is active, the feminine is passive. Like, I have men who write to me and they're like, well, what if I want to rest in my masculinity? And I'm like, you have that kind of twisted. The masculine is active, the masculine is doing, the feminine is rested, the feminine is in having done to her. This is why, you know, and everything is just so divine. If you think about the anatomy of a woman, how a woman's body accepts the man into hers, the man is the one who enters in. All of these things are really symbolic of a lot that, you know, and so I don't want you to find someone who's going to govern and rule over you like that. Please, I want you to find someone who you can be co-pilot to, who can be an asset to your home, who can build with you. You don't want a person who you have to exert all of this masculine, telling them what to do, and then you have children with this person, and now they're the biggest child that you have, and you never get a break to really just sit back and be free. That, how much time? Oh, 5 minutes on that. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Okay, what do people mean when they say women choose? All right. It took me, and I want to impart this wisdom upon you because it took me a long time to understand this myself as a woman, because some of us are in very frustrating situations and they're like, well, this is the man I chose. Why isn't he not doing what it is that I want him to do? Now, that's not the type of choice. That's not, you don't choose for another person to change their life and for them to, you don't choose how another person is going to be responsible in their own lives, govern their own lives, step up in their own lives. You don't choose that. What you do, and please hear this, as woman, as queen, you sit back. Remember, the feminine is receptive. You sit back, and the way that you choose is you let the masculine come to you, and then you decide who it is that you're going to let into your life. That's how you choose. Because what we have is we have a bunch of women who are frustrated because they're trying to figure out how do they turn this person who never really cared about them, who's not in the right space, and how do you turn, ooh, thing is falling. They're trying to figure out, how do I get this guy to want to marry me, to want to propose to me, and his life is in shambles. See, so this is what happens. This is what happens. As queen, you're on your throne. You sit back and you let the men come to you, and they present what it is that they're offering. So you have one person who comes up and they're like, I am educated, I have a house, and they're offering it up to you. They're like, my queen, milady, I have a house, I am educated, I have a car, I'm kind, I'm nice. And you say, okay, thank you, I heard that. And then you turn to the next one and you're like, my lord, what is it that you have to offer? And he's like, oh, milady, I'm generous, I'm kind, I'm not a morning person, I'm uneducated, but I work very hard, I'm blue collar, and my hands have calluses, I want children. And you're like, okay, my lord, I've heard you. And you turn to the next one, and the next one is like, you know, it's all about me. It's my way or the highway. I'm very domineering. I'm jealous. I don't want children. I don't want you to work. I want you to stay in the home. I this, then the other, whatever. And you say, okay, I've heard you. But what a lot of us are doing is we're turning to the one over here, and he's like, oh, milady, I have no job. I have a bunch of children I'm not taking care of. I can't really take care of myself. I have bad eating habits. I'm a slouch. I like a whole lot of women, and a whole lot of women like me. I got a crazy sex game, and I see you. Ooh, you looking, them breasts looking bubblicious in that dress, milady. And you're like, oh. And you're like, oh, I've heard you. And then you're going crazy because you're like, oh, you know, he said all of these things, right? And you're like, oh, how do I convert him into having a job, into being, you know, being responsible? How do I convert him into taking care of the children that we have? How do I convert this one into being what it is that, how do I get him to, you know, be like a Superman, right? And so this is part of the problem, is that you can't choose for what this person is going to do in their life. And I understand the compulsion, because you know that leads us into our next point, because our next point was about validation. See, what a lot of us women do, excuse me. What a lot of us women do is we seek our own validation through the acceptance of other people, or the ability for us to be able to change them into like take them on as this project. Like you're some art director and you get this fixer-upper, and then you clean him up and you change him from a player into a family man, and you settle him down, and although he wasn't taking care of all of those other children or women, or wasn't being a good person, you have changed him into a person who is going to be a good person and husband and father for you, because you're looking for your own worth to be validated through your ability, through your prowess, through your ingenuity of being able to completely uplift, alter, revitalize this man. And listen, I understand, we talked about this in the video, why good girls like bad boys. And see, part of the problem is that societies don't really nourish the competition, the competitive nature, or the competition in women, or sportsmanship and stuff like that, so that the only projects that we can take on are men. Our relationships become our projects. And so in order to pump our worth back into ourselves, we figure that, we need to be able to get validation about how much it is that we are worth through either having a person completely change, and not, though they had never been, you know, a husband to anybody else, you would get your validation from having been the only woman alive because of your beauty, your sophistication. Who knows? You feel that it's because of whatever it is that's happening inside of you that is now validated through this person now changing into another person. And that's not how you choose. You don't choose. I hope you understand my point on that. You don't choose what a person is going to do. You know, you get into these relationships and men are constantly saying, don't change me, don't change me. Then men don't want to be changed. And I understand the temptation to want to change them, but you want to change them for reasons that are inside of you. And what you're doing is you're putting your life, your time, and your body on the line on this gamble for a person who is resistant. You know, I read somewhere, think about how hard it is for you to change your habits, the things that you do, and the things that, and then imagine if you didn't want to change. So on the one hand, the things that you do want to change, you see how hard it is to change those habits. Now when you're dealing with another person, imagine how hard it is to change the habits of that person, and then how impossible it is if those are things that they do not want to change. You have a hard enough changing your own habits when you do want to change. Now, how do you change the habits of somebody else if they want to, and even worse if they don't? So a lot of us are kind of beating our head against the wall. What you need to do, the way that you choose, is when they're offering that up to them, you take a look and just like in poker, or whatever, these card games, when you go to the casinos and they let you know what it is that they have, you show what you're going to put up on the table. I'm going to put that there. I'll raise you 20. Are you willing to try to eat more healthfully? Yeah, I'm willing to eat more healthfully. Do you want children? I'm on the fence about that, but I definitely want children. So maybe you want to go into a different direction with that. You have to, when you're on the bargaining table, maybe poker wasn't a good example because you don't see the cards, they're not all on the line, but you have to gamble up. So what I'm saying is, during the bargaining phase, when each person is putting what it is that they have on the table, you need to the way you choose is in your acceptance as a woman, sitting back and allowing the person with the character traits that you want. Because there will be a man who'll be like, milady, I am ready to settle down. I have my house, I have my car, I'm a good man, I want a family, I will treat you right, I'm generous. And you'll be like, okay, well, those things are in alignment. This is what I am. And then you go in the direction that you want. Too many of us are going down the wrong avenue and wondering why we're feeling so frustrated. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, that startled me. Wondering why we're feeling so frustrated when things are not turning out how we want them to. And a last point, I want to get out of this video in under 20 minutes. Last point, we're going to talk about self-worth. You know, a lot of us, you know, when we're in the choosing phase, remember I said there is only you in relationship, and I understand because I've taken some time recently to really look at myself and see some of the choices that I've made in the past and some of the choices that I continue to make. And what I want you to do is I want you to pay very close attention. First of all, if you haven't heard any of the live shows that we've done, come over to my website, TanyaTKO.com, and click on live and look at the archives of the different shows that we've done over the past few months, where we delve into people's background. People get on the love seat and I help them find themselves. You know, a neck pain. Oh, so here we go. What's happening is we are finding people who mirror back a feeling that we felt somewhere in childhood. Some of these feelings are not completely healthy. So so what's happening is we're replicating these feelings of lowered self-worth by getting with a person who reminds us of the isolation that we felt in childhood because it feels comfortable. You know, it's like we stretch into these feelings that remind us of something from the past. Sometimes it's hard for us to put our finger on it, but I make these videos to help you turn your awareness to what's really going on. So you get into a relationship with a person, and remember there's only you, so this person is reflecting something back to you about you. And so you have lowered self-worth. So you get with a person who you know, because you know the right choice is going to be the man who's ready. But instead, because you're trying to prove your worth through a person, or because you want to self-abuse through this person, you choose the person who's going to bring the most frustration, who's going to bring, or not even the most frustration, but bring a level, oh, I have to, let me drink, I got to drink a little bit of my green smoothie. I'm sorry, my back is killing me. If you're on my Facebook and Twitter, you can get the recipe to today's green smoothie. Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to get inside my sauna before I take a shower, and really I need some heat to penetrate deep into my spine because that is killing me. Nonetheless, so let's keep going forward. Okay, because your self-worth is already tattered, and if you haven't, please go over to my website and download my free guide. It's entitled Truly Love Yourself and Heal Old Trauma. Many of us self-abuse through relationships. Many of us don't feel that we're worth, we don't feel that we're worth the man who is coming with everything that we want on a platter. It seems like a trick. We don't think that we're worth that. It's too easy. We come up with a lot of different excuses, and we fall into habit and pattern with a person who reminds us of this old dysfunctional feeling, because we become addicted to these hormones. Go watch the documentary, What the Bleep Do We Know? Watch that. Tell me what you think about that. And so I wanted to make this last point before I got out of here, because you all see that I'm in my workout clothes, and you see that I'm looking pleasantly plump, that I'm completely just filled, right? And and you know what? It's been embarrassing for me over the years, because I had been working so hard at trying to lose this weight, and it's been going up, it's been going down. I'm embarrassed because it keeps fluctuating back and forth so violently, right? But a lot of this has to do with, or had to do with, some things that were going on, my neck, and some things that were going on inside of me. You know, and I realized that some of us self-abuse through food. This is why I wrote the guide, and I really want you to go take a look at it. And I realized that even me, because I had to turn my attention to it. You know, self-escapism, some of us escape through food because the food turns into chemicals inside of our bodies. And so when we want a certain euphoric high, we take these foods into our bodies. Or even when we want to punish ourselves, you know, like so many of us, there's, you know what, there's always, and there will always be a reason not to love yourself. Always. Always. If you think about it, every one of us, I was thinking about this as I was jogging. Because it's like, here I am, you know, I'm overweight. I've been trying to get more fit, get more healthy, right? And it's been a slow journey, but the shift happened when I changed from wanting to lose weight into wanting to gain health. So here I am, and instead of abusing myself, because what the vicious cycle that happened for me, and what happens for many people, is we're angry at ourselves and we feel lowered self-worth because we're not getting as fit and as trim as we would like to fast enough. So we get angry at our bodies, and then we gorge ourselves and we stuff ourselves because the goal is to lose weight, and we're not accomplishing that goal. So then we're angry at ourselves and we punish ourselves with food. Like some people who don't feel that they're pretty, you know, what they do is some people cake their faces on with makeup. And then so they go out with this makeup on, and they put on the makeup because they didn't feel pretty. But then what it is that they present out to the world is a mask and a facade. And then it becomes a vicious cycle, because first you started out not feeling pretty. You put on this mask and this facade, and then you met people who thought that this is the way that you looked. And then on the inside, you're feeling all of this self-consciousness because you're like, doggone it, I really don't look that way. And then now you're afraid to be able to take off this mask. So then your own self-worth lowers even more. Some people who are upset with their bodies, who feel ugly, they cut themselves, they scar themselves, they do all sorts of things. And we can often, sometimes we even self-abuse with relationships, with the way that we treat ourselves. We know that we like being out with other people. But because we're angry at ourselves, because we're heavy, we punish ourselves by forcing ourselves to stay alone. Oh, you don't want to go out now because you're a little bit overweight and you don't want people to see you. I'm scrunching up my face because my back is hurting too. So give me a moment. Oh. So you don't want to do the very thing that would help you feel better. Going out with friends, having fun with friends, indulging in life and just living and being happy. Instead, you keep yourself at home and you punish yourself, or you step on the scale, and you know how you feel about stepping on the scale. Your whole entire worth can drop. You can start out feeling great, then you step on the scale and the scale tells you something different than you want to hear. So then you start beating yourself up on your mind. Right? And so it becomes this vicious cycle where the way we feel about ourselves, all of this ties back into the fact that you are trying to convert a hoe into a husband in the first place. This is all about your self-worth. All of this leads back to the love or lack of love that you feel for yourself. A person who is expressing love for themselves, they enter into a relationship in which they too can feel the love emanating back to them. They choose for a person to come into their lives who is going to bring an abundance of some good qualities into their lives. And when they see that a person is coming with something that they don't want, they don't allow it in. I met a guy yesterday at the laundromat who was telling me that he was living with somebody in someone's house. He's having some hard times, and he had on some ring on his finger, and I was like, what's that on your finger, right? And he was like, oh, you know, this this woman who's staying with me, you know, she pawned her ring. I'm like, well, how did you get it if she pawned her ring? And he was like, he had like all of these different stories, and he was like, oh, she pawned it and I was like, how did you get the ring? Because the story was confusing to me. And then he was like, oh, she pawned it to me, you know, I gave her some money. And I was like, you're living with a woman? And he was like, oh, that's the girlfriend of the man that I'm staying with. And then after that, I mean, look, the laundry took some time, so we were just sitting there talking. And after all was said and done, he was like, can we stay in touch? And I was like, no. And he was like, why not? And I'm like, because I don't want to. I was like, I feel that your life has a lot of drama in it. I don't want that drama in my life. You know, it's like, who knows who that ring belonged to and whether it was true or not. And it was he's sleeping on someone's floor, and he lended people, they're pawning, he's a bunch of broke people. And it's like, no, do I want to take on this project? Do I love myself enough to be like, no, I'm not letting you into my life. Remember, as queen, you sit back on your throne and you let them present what it is that they're bringing. And if you know that you want to get married, why are you settling for a person who is telling you up front that they do not? Why are you, if you know that you want to have children, or you know you don't want to have children, why are you dating somebody who does? If you know that you have a good enough time running your household by yourself, why are you not seeking someone who can run it as good or better? Why are you seeking somebody who's going to become an additional burden to you? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. We have to realize as women that we don't choose who is going to do what in our lives. We choose who it is that we let into our lives. Okay, I feel like I got my whole point out. Let me check and see how long we've been on. 26, that's a little longer than I was planning, but let's get out of here. I'm a little sweaty, but I smell okay. I smell okay though. Hug me. Oh, hug me. Don't squeeze me hard, okay? I love you all so very much. Okay, now go out there and love one another, but most importantly, what? Oh, don't make me stretch. Most importantly, love yourself. If this video helped you, please share the video with a friend. Make sure that you subscribe to my mailing list on my website. Come over to TanyaTKO.com. It's written back there. Remember, that's Tanya with an O. TONYA.TKO.com. And I'm out. If you made it to the end of the video, I want you to say this sentence. I will begin loving myself by, and I want you to tell me what actions it is that you are going to participate in that is going to be supportive of you as an individual and as a person who loves yourself. Are you going to stop talking negatively to yourself? Because one of the biggest travesties, and I meant to mention this in the video, is that when we need ourselves the most, that's when we're abusive to ourselves. You know, it's like a whole bunch of stuff is already going wrong in so many different avenues and aspects of our lives, and instead of being able to find respite and comfort in our own minds, instead at that point we become the biggest abusers. And it's like, okay, so now we're in a relationship, or we're not in a relationship, where we're being abused, etc., and then we come right back into ourselves and we abuse ourselves in there. So, you know, it's like there has to be, I mean, it's like you can't even get a break. And I was supposed to mention one thing about the validation aspect. You know, trying to get validation for your worth from another person. And so if that person doesn't give that, then you don't feel as if you have any worth. If you're not able to convert this person, if this person doesn't accept you, you know, there'll always be a lot of different reasons for people not to accept you as you are. They may not be ready. They may not be the right one for you. You may not be the right one for them. You two may not be in alignment. And instead of trying to get this person to accept you so that you could feel your own worth, you have to move on to somebody who's a better match for you. You know, so it's like, and it all goes around with the cycle of self-abuse. And so it's like, you know, you feel a certain way about yourself. you look for the validation through this person, they don't give it, you feel even worse about yourself when they should have never been put in a position to validate you to begin with. It's like you have to validate yourself. Remember, I was talking about this weight that I have and how it's been so embarrassing because over the years I've been wanting and trying to lose this weight. But do I withhold the love from myself because I'm hoping that someone else out there will validate me? What would happen if I validated myself? If I said, you know what, you are good enough as you are. You know, there'll always be a reason to withhold love from yourself. There's some people out there who, we come plagued with a lot of different types of ailments and diseases. One person's leg is longer than the other. Another person's spine is bent in scoliosis. Some people have multiple sclerosis. Some people didn't grow tall enough. Some people grew too tall and now they're extra slim and can't gain weight. Some people can't lose weight. Some people, as women, as we get older, our worth in society and the way that people treat us and the way that we feel about ourselves can fluctuate, can falter. But what is it that you feel about yourself without the validation from society? You don't have to be validated by everybody. I learned this. So listen to this. You know what? My videos do not get hundreds of thousands of views per video. They don't. And I realized quite recently that I don't have to reach hundreds of thousands of people. I only need to reach a few core people who are going to get the message and come back and support and stay in touch and follow up with me and get my product and come to my seminars. I don't need 100,000 people. I don't need that. I only need a few core. So when it comes time to you going out there, yeah, you can sit there, you'll be like, oh, I'm getting old, nobody would want me. Because at one point you were young. Or you could be like, oh, I have this debilitating disease, nobody's gonna want me. Or you go out there and you're like, oh, this person doesn't want me and I knew it because this is how I felt about myself deep down inside. And you have to remember that people are going to, only you, people are going to reflect back to you what it is that you're putting out there, what's energizing from you from the inside. I know energizate is not a word, but you know what I mean. So it's like, we put this vibration outward and it's returned back to us because people will validate what it is that we feel. So it's like, what would happen if you accepted yourself, if you validated yourself? It's like, listen, lots of people tell me that I need to be quiet. I am not married yet. I'm not. And so people are like, oh, Tanya, you need to shut up. I'm not going to listen to a person like you and all this. I could be like, oh, why would anyone listen to me because I am yet unwed? Or I could be like, you know what, there's some value. I could have some self-worth and validate myself. There's some value in the things that I say. I tell anybody, listen, if what I say to you resonates, rock with it. If it doesn't, rock without it. Hey, you have to do what's right for you. So it's like you don't need 100,000 men or women to accept you. You accept yourself, and then as queen, you sit back and you see who it is that is bringing the best deal to the table, and then you find a person that resonates with you, that you resonate with, and vice versa. So that you're not out there, looking for a bunch of people to validate you. You only need, listen, half of marriages end in divorce. Listen, every relationship that you will be in will end except for that one. And then half of marriages end in divorce. So it's like, you don't, this is why we have to choose wisely. Choose wisely. Choose wisely so that, listen, half end, but half stay together. Listen, let me get out of here. We already hugged. Do you want another one? Yeah, we've talked so much longer now. 33. We almost talked another 10 minutes. I love you. Bye, 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 bye. Listen, come get the free guide and let's stay in touch, okay? Tanya TKO. This is, see my belly? So it's like, I have to love myself regardless. This is how it is right now, but it won't always be this way. And it's like, I'm not going to withhold love from myself now. I'm in it for the long haul. It's like, I'm not going to self-abuse with all of these awful thoughts about myself. I'm going to say, you know what, Tanya, this is how you are right now. I love you as is. You are good enough as is. And I'm going to keep moving forward, moving towards health. stopping with the abuse of abusing myself in my mind about what it is that I haven't done. I am celebrating what it is that I have. I made a green smoothie today. I haven't had a green smoothie in so long. And it feels good to be able to support. I feel it going all through my body. It feels good to support myself in that way. So listen, go out there, have some fun, love yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else out there says to you. I remember I went to a film festival up in Martha's Vineyard 2 years ago, and I had some critiques about some of the films, and it seemed like everybody was against me. When I would start talking, people would start to groan and all, because I mean, I was a film major in college, so I was giving my honest critiques, and people were groaning and all this other stuff, and people wanted me to be quiet. And it's like, you know, it's easy to stand up for your opinion when people are clapping and they feel what you're feeling too. But do you have the ability to stand up for what it is that you believe in, and even when other people are not clapping for you? Do you have the ability to love yourself even when other people are telling you that you're getting old, that you're fat, that you're too black, or you're too white, that your hair's too nappy, or your hair's too stringy? Do you have the ability to love yourself and know that you have worth and value regardless of what anybody else out there says, so that you maintain like a mountain, you maintain your worth until you find a situation that is more conducive for a person like you? You don't need everybody. You just need one. You just need that one. Make sure that's a good one, okay? Listen, I love you so much. You have no idea. I love you. Go out there and love one another. But most importantly, love yourself. Tanya TKO, and I'm out. Peace. I hope this video was helpful. Please leave your comments below. And remember the secret sentence that I wanted you to say. Rewind back for that. Oh, I will talk with you later. Bye.